Hi, I'm Robbie Edwards. I work for Redstorm Entertainment. I'm producer on Ghost Recon 3, and I'm going to give you a slight introduction today. So for the next generation Xbox Ghost Recon 3, we just have all this power we've never had before. All these things that game developers have dreamed of in the past are now reality because there's just so much power available. For me, it's like working on this top secret thing that no one knows about, but it's also these long series of challenges because every day we're learning something new about the console itself, you know, how we can do this, and then we're looking to optimize those things and make them run faster. And then it's just like, it's like Christmas Day every day because all these things that you learn that you can do that you never thought would be possible in your lifetime are now true. In the past, game developers always had to make compromises. They've had to decide, well, we'd really like to make these walls destroyable, but we can't now, or we couldn't because you only had so many resources available to you. But now with the next gen, you can just blindly say, no, everything here is going to be destructible. This guy is going to have 1 million polys in him and look photorealistic. I mean, it's really getting to the verge of that. It's going to be difficult to tell the difference between something that's filmed and on television and something that's being rendered in a video game scene. The Clancy games, you know, rely on realism. They want things to be as realistic as possible, but they also, specifically with Ghost Recon, want to have this feeling of a chaotic war going on. So in a situation where you can now destroy everything or blow holes in walls and have these big dust clouds blowing around, again, which wasn't possible in previous generations, it adds to that atmosphere, that tension, that adrenaline pumping excitement that's going on. Well, certainly the first thing people are going to notice are the graphics. The graphics are going to be so much better. High definition everywhere, 16:9 everywhere, these nice widescreen formats. You know, the PC guys have always had a better resolution on being on a PC monitor, but now all the console guys are going to start meeting that benchmark. And then everything's going to be so much higher detail. The characters will have so many more polys, the textures will be so much sharper. I mean, it is going to be just like an order of magnitude better just visually, not to mention all the other things because there's so much processing power. Physics are going to be fantastic, multiplayer is going to be fantastic. Practically every aspect of a game is going to have this huge increase in just the quality of it. For Ghost Recon specifically, you know, we're trying to move into the future, getting right there onto the bleeding edge of what the U.S. military is using, and militaries around the world, really. We also want to provide these in-depth player experiences, hook a lot of emotion into the game. You know, in the past, we've created a sandbox and just let the players play for themselves, but now we're trying to orchestrate the gamer experience just a little bit more and give them the tools that really make them feel like the hero in the movies. Another great thing for Ghost Recon 3 that we're focusing on is allowing the player to have a lot of information available to them from the battlefield. We've all seen it on CNN, we've all seen the UAVs and heard about them on television. So for Ghost Recon 3, we're trying to bring that thing in where using the cross-comm interface inside the game, you'll be able to access satellite intelligence, get intelligence from your other soldiers as well as UAVs or other troops in the battlefield. So information is really important, and we're trying to bring that into the Ghost Recon series. Well, the thing that everyone sees in every game is the graphics. So I think a large majority of the processing power and the memory is going to be utilized to make good graphics. But again, we've seen what Half-Life 2 did, you know, and they've had physics everywhere, and a lot of people are going to start doing that, as well as, you know, deformable terrain and all these special effects, you know, these flags that flap in the wind and cloth that moves all over the place. You know, these things are easy for fighting games because they only have to draw 2 characters. But now we're going to start seeing these larger games, these games like Ghost Recon 3, where you have, you know, 32 enemies on screen, and you'll be able to see a lot more detail in those characters. It's going to be subtle at first, but then once people start understanding the techniques, you'll definitely see a difference. Skins will start looking better. Right now, you know, they're just plain diffuse textures, look all plain, but in the future, you know, they'll have these nice shininess to them, and they'll have some depth to them, and they'll look like real skin, which right now, if you took, you know, a screenshot from a game and compared it to a real life photo, there's no comparison there. You can clearly tell which one is which. But in the next generation, as we start spending more time and more cycles and more effort on making the games look more realistic, you'll definitely have trouble telling the difference of what's photo and what's actually from a game. Definitely the first round of games will be amazing. I mean, we were talking about a console that you can't imagine it right now. It's so powerful. It's that much of a step forward. So yes, the first generation of games are going to look fantastic. Much like when the Xbox and the PlayStation 2 first came out, everybody was like, wow, you know, this is really incredible. But then you give it a year after people have had time to work with the hardware and understand a little bit what's going on, and it is difficult to imagine exactly where a game is going to be in 2 years from now, just because of all the changes that are fixing to go through it. Actually, the development time for the content is really what's going to be a problem for the next few years, because We have so much power. You know, we're talking about creating models that used to be 2,000 polys, but now they're going to be 20,000 polys, right? And that scale, you know, a scale of 10 is going to take that much longer to create these models. So it requires more and more people, and then these people got to talk to each other. So until we find a much better way to streamline the creation of the content and communicate the design and the visions of the games, that's going to be the barrier. The games that are successful right now are the ones that have gotten through that understand, you know, how to maximize their efforts and how to not spend a lot of time creating things that won't ever be used. So there's a little taste of what's coming on the next generation Xbox and Ghost Recon 3. Be prepared for a lot more coming this fall.